and allow more time to work out a broader deal. This prevents any disruption in savings or benefits in the short run. Joining me now is Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Senator, great to have you with us tonight as that news is breaking. How does it hit your ears?
Well, obviously, nobody wants to see the government shut down. But on the other hand, if there's going to be an extension of the payroll tax, the interesting question is, how is it going to be paid for, that holiday? And what I think the American people have been very clear about it is the middle class is in decline. The wealthiest people are doing phenomenally well. Their effective tax rates is the lowest in decades. The American people are saying, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, the wealthiest people got to start paying their fair share of taxes. That apparently is not happening. That's not a good thing.
This kicks the can down the road 2 months.
It does.
And it continues the conversation about a revenue component, something that the Republicans have been very dogmatic about, that they're not going to give up. Where do you think this is headed?
Well, the Republicans have been very, very firm, and what they have said is, look, we Republicans believe it is our moral obligation to protect the wealthiest people in this country, to protect the largest corporations, some of whom pay virtually nothing in taxes, and we're not going to bend on that issue. And I think the Democrats have got to be aggressive in taking the case to the American people and say enough is enough. It is the middle class, it's the working class that needs tax breaks, not the wealthiest people in this country. And at some point, you're going to have to draw a line in the sand, let the American people make that decision.
Well, that line, Senator, was not drawn in this deal because the Democrats have given up on the surcharge for the millionaires. That means 0.2% of Americans that would have been affected by this aren't going to have to pay anything. And the Democrats caved in on this. That was a question I asked earlier tonight. Is this a cave?
Yeah, I would say it is a cave again. And as you and I have discussed, every poll that we have seen, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, say, hey, it is time for the wealthiest people in this country to start paying their fair share of taxes. That still has not happened. Not one nickel in revenue from millionaires and billionaires.
All right. You have been very strong on this, Citizens United. It's going to have a major impact in 2012. Is that an understatement?
No, that is not an understatement.
Okay, and you have an amendment out there.
Constitutional amendment.
What kind of support are you going to get for this? First of all, what would it do, and what kind of support do you think you can get?
It comes, what it says, this is a constitutional amendment in response to the horrendous Supreme Court 5-4 Citizens United decision. And this amendment, which is so radical, you know what it says, Ed? It says that a corporation is not a person. Yeah. Now, I know that's just a very radical statement, that Bank of America and Goldman Sachs and ExxonMobil are not folks like you and me. They do not have First Amendment constitutional rights to pour unlimited sums of money into campaigns all over this country without disclosure. And you know what? The overwhelming majority of the American people think what the Supreme Court did is crazy. We're getting a lot of grassroots support for the amendment. We have a petition on my website, sanders.senate.gov. I think we have over 80,000 signatures already.
Everywhere I go, people are talking about this because they know how damaging Citizens United is going to be. This would be uniform for the Democrats. Wouldn't it be a slam dunk for you to have absolutely every Democrat on board with this?
It should be.
And it should be a campaign issue for 2012.
Look, here are two realities of Citizens United. Number one, you're going to have the Koch brothers, you're going to have Karl Rove and his friends sitting around the room with large corporate leaders deciding how to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. 50 million in California, 30 million in Ohio. Nobody I know thinks that that's what democracy is about. Second thing it does, Ed, is when a senator or a member of the House casts the vote, if you're prepared to take on Wall Street, if you're prepared to take on the military-industrial complex, do you not think that members are going to be sitting there thinking, if I cast that vote against Wall Street or the drug companies, am I going to go home next weekend and find millions of dollars in TV ads running against me? Yeah. Maybe I better not cast that vote.
Now, the president referenced this in his speech in Kansas about the big money in politics. In the last State of the Union address, he also, in a sense, called out the Supreme Court for what he thought was a very bad decision. So he's made, you know, his point. How much further do you think he has to take it? Because right now, he's mended a lot of fences with Democrats across the country.
I think he's got to be very aggressive on this issue. The name of my constitutional amendment is called Saving American Democracy, and that is not an exaggeration. If billionaires and corporate heads can go into their own corporate treasuries go into the money in Bank of America, put money into campaigns. How much power is the average middle-class person going to have in the political process? So I think the president has got to be very aggressive. I would hope he supports a constitutional amendment.
I want to go back to our breaking news for just a moment, because there really is something that has developed here in the last year. 3 government shutdowns. 3 times this has been a big story, and now it's going to come up again for the 4th time. Right. Is this the way Washington is going to be run, and is this the way the Republicans hold Democrats hostage?
It's exactly what Republicans do. They take you to the very, very edge. We had the debt ceiling crisis. For the first time in the history of the United States, the government was going to default on its payments, a disaster. The Republican says, we're prepared to do it unless you guys start surrendering on important issues.
And the campaign for the Republicans in 2012, Senator, they're going to go back to extending the Bush tax cuts. Earlier tonight, Leader Pelosi told us that this is the end. Do you think the Democrats can say that with conviction, that this is the end when it comes to an extending, that the Bush tax cuts will finally be gone and we would restore the old rates during the Clinton years?
What can I tell you? I certainly hope so. The idea that we continue with a $15 trillion national debt to give huge tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires is incomprehensible. So I would hope that the president and the Democrats remain strong on this issue.
It's a campaign winner.
Absolutely.
I mean, and the Democrats, you have got, you're an independent, but you caucus with the Democrats. They have all the polling with them when it comes to getting more money out of wealthy, when it comes to the income divide, when it comes to all of these issues. And there just can't be a cave-in. I mean, that's what I continually hear.
I will do my best.
I know you do.
To try to make sure that does not happen again.
Senator, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much. Bernie Sanders from Vermont. That's the Ed Show. I'm Ed Schultz. You can listen to me on Sirius.